Here we are at the long-awaited process of putting the back on the guitar. It's been a lot longer process than I thought, a lot more in-depth, a lot more work was required to get it that way. We never anticipated having to take the neck off, so that set us back a few weeks. I had a lot of research to do as I go, so it takes me a while to get things posted up, but I want to give you a brief overview of what we've done to the body of the guitar so far, the condition that it's in now, and hopefully at the end of this video I'll show you some before and after pictures of the condition of that neck joint, if I can figure out how to edit those stills into this program. But I'm going to move the camera now, and I'll give you a little bit of an overview of what we've done so far, and then we'll begin clamping on the back. Okay, so here we are with the back, the body of the guitar in its currently restored state. If you've been watching the whole series of the video, you'll know that this rear block at the lower bout was completely destroyed. It was in several pieces. This is half of what it was. The other half is around here somewhere. But at any rate, we've had to completely replace this and re-glue this whole rear portion. We've also put in whatever repairs we could make. There was a large crack in this side of the guitar, you can see here. We've put on some splints to hold that back together. You'll see various other band-aids for cracks and things that we've done inside to replace that. The upper block has also been re-glued. If you recall, there was some damage to this because of the neck removal. We've restored all of that. That's in good shape now. We've installed a Martin style X bracing, which was made popular by the Martin Guitar Company in the late, early to mid 1800s actually. Martin began making guitars. We've installed the backing plate for the bridge to support this part of the guitar. And I've also made one small repair just this morning. You'll see this very small, let's see if I can find it, this small band-aid right here in the corner. Right there. That's covering up two small nail holes that are visible on the other side. If you see those two small nail holes, those were nail holes that whoever the repairer was in the past tried to re-nail one of the horizontal braces inside the guitar with finishing nails. I took those nails out, obviously, and replaced the bracing, but I've decided to leave the scar as sort of a talking point and a battle wound when talking about the history of the guitar. The back has been thoroughly flattened. I think one of our previous videos you saw we had to go through a process to flatten it and put the lateral bracing back on. We did a repair, this small repair strip. There's a video on that, how we went about that. We've got a nice flat surface here now so that we can be assured that this is going to go on the way it was intended. There's an interesting thing that I discovered. I've dry fit this with clamps a couple of different times, trying to align the back perfectly with the contour of the guitar itself. You can see there's a lot of movement here. So trying to get the back perfectly aligned all the way around the perimeter is a little bit of a challenge. And I struggled with that quite a bit originally. What I had first done is found a center point between these two sides and put a mark and described a center line exactly down the center of this back. And I know that the centers, where the centers are on the base, obviously, there's a distinct seam there. But I've laid out that center also on the 2 blocks. Obviously, there's a center mark here. I don't know if you can, how well you can see that, but there's a little pencil mark right there. So my intent was to line up the center on this end and the center on this end so that we knew that it was square, or it was true with the body of the guitar when we glued it back on. But when I tried to clamp it on that way, I could not get this perimeter to match up perfectly all the way around. And what I discovered was that when this was originally put on, the center line of the back was not completely lined up with the center line of the body of the guitar. In fact, from top to bottom, if I line up the center on this end and I line the sides as well as I can, I find that this is about a quarter inch off center. So what they had done is they set the top on and glued it when it was not quite centered. So although it's probably imperceptible from the naked eye, I can tell you from my perspective that it's not completely aligned. However, that allows me to make a perfect alignment as much as possible around the perimeter, because if there's overhang on one side, we're lacking on the back side and front to back as well. So it's a kind of a challenge to get all of these surfaces lined up perfectly so that there's no gaps and no misalignment. Okay, so the first step in the process here is to try to secure one end, and since we know that the centers lined up on the base, on the lower bout, the centers did line up. So I'm trying to align center for center on this end so that we have some latitude on this end. Now on this particular guitar, the thickness this way, the thickness of the body of the guitar is greater here than it is here. In fact, the body of the guitar is curved down this way, so that, and the curve starts somewhere here in the waist of the guitar. So what happens is when I clamp this tight, you see we end up with a gap here. That's because the body of the guitar is slightly curved beginning at the waist of the guitar. So if we start locating, try to get flush here on the bottom, we'll then work to the top. Now you can see how much misalignment there is when we do that. There's a lot of misalignment here. This has all got to be forced into place with clamps and so on and so forth. I have decided to glue this in 2 sections. I'll glue the top of the bout, the lower bout, the upper bout first. Then I'll take the clamps off, and this end will pop up slightly just as this end did then. I hold this down and take these clamps off. This will pop open, and I'll finish the gluing from about here all the way around to here. I'm going to start by gluing the top half, let it sit overnight, and I'll come back and take the clamps off. It'll pop open on the back just like that on the lower bout, and I'll get glue in there, and then I'll reclamp. That way I'll have more working time if I try to glue the whole thing at once. The glue, it's kind of a tedious process, and the glue is apt to begin to dry in certain areas before I get all the way around the circumference of the guitar. So the plan is to glue half, the top half first, then the lower half. Okay, so I have a syringe of glue now. I'm going to leave the clamps in the bottom in place because this gives me some location. and I'm going to start spreading the glue around this particular section of the guitar. The syringe works quite well for this. I'm trying to stop the glue in roughly the same spot on both sides so that when I spring it open tomorrow, I'll have equal access to both sides. Okay, so we got to be careful we get too much glue in the wrong places here. But we want to make sure that we've got even glue going around the bout. Spread the glue as evenly as possible. We know we're going to have squeeze out, but we'll clean that up as we go. Okay. Oops. We gotta get that little tighter. We have good location on this end, so we need to concentrate on getting this end lined up. We're gonna squeeze out a little bit first. Try to get rid of some of that squeeze out. Like so. Okay, we have marks on this end, so we know where this end should be. We know that it's out of alignment by about 1/4 of an inch. So we're gonna put another clamp on here. Like so. You really only get one shot at this, so I'm trying to be cautious and thorough and expedient here at the same time. Okay, so we are progressing along. I'm trying to be quick about it. Titebond does not have a real long open time, especially on bare wood, which is what we're dealing with here. So I'm trying to get as much alignment as we can. I think we're doing pretty good here. Trying to keep the glue squeeze out to a minimum. I'm using the hammer to go reach inside of the sound hole to tap out on the guitar body so that it comes out flush with the perimeter of the back. Because the worst thing that we could do is have the back come up short of flush. If the body of the guitar sticks out, we can't do much about that. But if the top overhangs even a 64th or less, we can sand that down flush around the perimeter. But if the body sticks out, we can't sand the body down, because the body's only about a 64th of an inch thick as it is. So we've gone around the perimeter. I think I've got a pretty good, I have a little overhang here. but I'm pretty flush all the way around so that I know that I can trim the top or the back down to the surface of the body of the guitar. And I'm fairly well lined up back here. I've tried to put clamps even past where the glue joint stops, because once this glue sets, there's zero chance that we're going to be able to realign anything as it relates to the continuing curve around the back of the body. So trying, even though there's no glue back here, I'm trying to line this up as much as possible to eliminate any concerns that we're going to run into some problems later. As you can, I don't know if you can see, we've got a little of the body of the guitar is projecting past the back. But because there's flex there, I can push that out. I can push that back down, put on a clamp, and then push that down a little bit and it'll stay. Even though there's no glue there, the clamp will hold it temporarily. You can probably hear a little creaking and groaning. Now you see we've probably, if you can see, we've got quite a bit of reveal right there. I'm going to try to push some of that out, even though there's no glue on this end of the guitar. And you can see that with a little pressure, I can push that in. So I'm going to take a clamp and I'm going to push that in and try to get some alignment out of it, even though there's no glue there. I want to get another clamp back here too. Yes, there we go. We're getting some rigidity now. I've left this matching clamp off because this seemed to want to line up naturally, but I'm going to clamp it now so that the glue has a chance to really take hold there. And yes, there I see squeeze out, so I know that it wasn't down tightly. Just going to go around and tighten all the clamps. Okay, I'm fairly pleased with the way it's flushed out pretty much all the way around. I have a little overhang on the ends, but I'd rather have that. I can take that off with a fine plane or sanding block, but I can't take it off if the bout is sticking out past the back. Now that I've gone around and tightened all of the clamps, I'm going to just go in between everywhere and double up since I have the clamps and make sure I get a good squeeze out all around the top half of the guitar. Okay, now there we have it. I've doubled up all the clamps, gone around, retightened everything. We've got glue from about this point forward. Now, after the glue sets, it's going to be a minimum 3 or 4 hours. Maybe we'll wait overnight. We'll take all of the clamps off, and because this side will be glued down, remember this side then will spring up slightly so that we can use the syringe and get glue the rest of the way around. And this is fairly well lined up, so that the second half, gluing the lower bout, should be somewhat less tedious and nerve-wracking as getting the top lined up. Top is lined up pretty good. So I expect the bottom will follow suit nicely now. And we'll try to include that. If I can append this video, I'll do it all in one session.